class on agricultural science. My name is Ejiro Efere. In this lesson, we shall be looking at the theme, Basic Concepts of Agricultural Science. And in this theme, we will be considering the topic, Problems of Agricultural Development and Possible Solutions, Part 1. In the course of this lesson, we shall be looking at the various problems encountered in Nigeria's agricultural sector and their implication in the development of agriculture. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the various problems facing the agricultural sector of Nigeria. You should also be able to discuss some of the problems of agricultural development in Nigeria. Now let's begin. The agricultural sector of Nigeria has faced a lot of challenges and problems over the years. These challenges has led to a decrease in productivity and a decrease in the standard of living of farmers. This is the reason why most farmers in Nigeria are peasants. When we use the word peasant, we mean these farmers are poor. The problems encountered in Nigeria's agricultural sector are evident in the underdeveloped state of agriculture in Nigeria and the dependence of its citizens on imported food products. Because the level of production has decreased, most Nigerians are dependent on imported food products such as rice and other products. In today's lesson, we shall be looking at those common problems encountered in the agricultural sector of Nigeria. And some of the problems are access to land and land tenure system, inadequate finance, poor transportation, inadequate tools and farm machines, inadequate farm inputs, the effect of pests and diseases, unfavorable climates, lack of storage and processing facilities, high level of illiteracy, rural-urban drifts, poor market system, wrong orientation, environmental degradation, and inconsistent government policies. Now we're going to take these problems one after the other. The first problem encountered in the agricultural sector is the problem of gaining access to land and land tenure system. Land is a very important factor in agricultural production. It is very important because it is the earth's surface on which crops grow and animals live. Crops gain their nutrients from the soil found on land, and animals are able to move around on land and live freely. The land tenure system is a legal system that governs ownership, acquisition, and the use of land in any society. The land tenure system decides how people acquire land for various uses. Now, why is land a problem to agricultural development? It's a problem because the land tenure system practiced in Nigeria says land is owned either by inheritance, purchase, or lease. And in most cases, these farmers are peasants. They are unable to pay the huge amount required for the purchase or lease of land. Also, in most cases where farmers are not the owners of the land, it is seen that profitable cultivation is almost impossible. This is because the farmers spend significant portions of their earning in payment for lease. The problem of land continues as the population of Nigeria increases. It is seen that with the increased population of the country, the size of land available for agricultural activities or purposes has been reduced. This is because most landowners may want to use their portions of land for other purposes, such as building houses and other structures. And this is a huge problem because farmers are left with just a little portion of land to carry out their farming activities. The second problem encountered in Nigeria's agricultural sector is the problem of finance, and it is tagged inadequate finance. Most farmers cannot afford the costs of large-scale farming, and they cannot go into commercial agriculture. So most farmers still practice subsistence agriculture in Nigeria. And the reason why this is so is because most farmers are poor, they do not have access to loans, they do not have what it takes as the required collateral to secure bank loans. And sometimes they are unable to pay the high interest rates on loans. All of this problem hinders the progress of agricultural activities in Nigeria. The next problem encountered in Nigeria's agricultural sector is the problem of transport, tagged poor transportation. A large population of Nigerian farmers live in the rural areas, and some of these farmers find it difficult to transport their goods to urban areas. And they find it difficult because most times some of these rural areas lack accessible roads. Some of the roads found in rural areas are in very poor states, and there is a problem of inadequate number of transporters flowing the rural areas. Then, those that toll the rural areas usually charge so much for transportation fare. All of these discourage farmers from transporting their goods from the rural areas to the urban areas where they are supposed to sell their products effectively. This limits them to the activities of middlemen coming to the villages to buy their products. The next problem is the problem of inadequate tools and farm machines. Tools and farm machines are very important in agricultural practice. Most arable farmers in Nigeria face the challenge of using hand tools. Now, I have to state that these hand tools include tools such as hoe, cutlass, and shovel. Some of them are restricted to the use of these tools because they cannot afford the high cost of sophisticated equipment. So they are limited to using such tools. Examples of standard machines or equipment include harrows, plows, ridges, planters, and tractors. These equipment are usually imported and they are expensive. The use of poor tools or poor hand tools make farming activities very tedious and less productive. This is because farmers may have to spend more time using these tools to work on their farms than they would have done using better equipment. Another problem encountered in the agricultural sector is the problem of inadequate inputs. Farm inputs generally refers to the materials that are deposited in a farm. It includes materials such as pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, hybrid seeds, and hybrid animals. These inputs are often imported, and they are usually very expensive to procure. Now, because we established that most farmers in Nigeria are peasants, they cannot afford some of these inputs. Most of the inexpensive inputs that are available in our society are of very low and inferior standard. Therefore, they do not give the desired results, and this will lead to poor output. This is because some of these inputs are supposed to nourish the soil and protect the crops from destruction in order for the farmers to have a good output. Another problem common in Nigeria's agricultural sector is the problem of pests and diseases. This is a very serious problem because pests and diseases damage crops. They cause major problems in the development of agriculture. Pests and diseases carry out the following. They destroy large quantities of farm produce and they cause poor farm yield. They also reduce the quality of farm products. In cases where farmers are able to secure some of their products from the effects of pests and diseases, most of these products come out with very poor quality. Pests and diseases also increase the cost of production for farmers who can afford the cost of standard chemical inputs such as pesticides and herbicides, which are supposed to be used to destroy these pests. Pests and diseases end up discouraging farmers. Their activities discourage existing farmers and intending farmers. A common example or case of the effects of pests and diseases is the case of invasion of tomato pest known as Tuta absoluta. This pest invaded the Nigerian agricultural sector sometime around April 2016. The effects of this pest damaged a lot of tomato crops, causing a general shortage of tomato in Nigeria. Now, this is because Nigeria could not afford the required pesticide to tackle the effects of these pests. Pests and diseases can cause more problems in agricultural development. The next problem is the problem of unfavorable climate. Unfavorable climate here refers to the general weather conditions that are unfavorable to farmers. Unfavorable climate conditions discourage farmers and they lead to low productivity. It's because bad weather generally affects farmers in different ways. Some of the ways by which bad weather affects farmers are drought or low rainfall cause poor harvest. Drought refers to a climate that is very, very dry or the absence of rainfall. Crops need water to grow successfully. When there is low rainfall or when there is drought, these crops will not be able to grow successfully and yield adequately. Excess rainfall or flooding destroys crops. Inasmuch as crops require water to grow successfully, they do not want excess of it. So when there's excess rainfall or when a farmland is flooded, most crops die and they do not yield successfully. The effect of low sunshine, when the level of sunshine is also very low, it causes problems in agricultural production. It reduces the rate of photosynthesis and it causes poor growth. Remember that all crops require sunshine to carry out photosynthesis and grow appropriately. Excess sunshine also and very low temperatures are unconducive for the growth of crops. Excess sunshine can destroy crops and very low temperature can prevent the growth of crops. All of these bad climate conditions has affected Nigeria's agricultural development. Now let's look at the problem of lack of storage facilities and the lack of processing facilities. Storage facilities are facilities that are required for the storage of agricultural products, and processing facilities are facilities required to process some of these agricultural products into other items that can be used by people. Most farmers in Nigeria lack storage facilities. Some forage facilities are locally made, while some are imported. But farmers in Nigeria lack adequate amounts of storage facilities such as rumbus, rafters, cribs, barns, and silos. The few available storage facilities are usually inadequate for the storage of large quantities of agricultural products. There is also a huge shortage of processing facilities, such as millers, canning and sealing machines. And because these facilities are not there, farmers usually do not have what it takes to process their excess products to other useful items. To prevent waste or loss, farmers usually sell their goods or their products at reduced prices, or they face the risk of losing everything in times of excess production. The lack of storage facilities and processing facilities has also hindered the progress of agricultural development in Nigeria. The other problem we'll be looking at is the problem of high level of illiteracy. A great percentage of Nigerian farmers are not educated. Most of them do not know how to read or write. And because they are uneducated, they do not know how to accept and handle the technicalities involved in modern agricultural practices. As a result of this level of illiteracy, some farmers are usually very hostile to extension workers. Remember, extension workers are people who go into agricultural fields to educate farmers on modern practices. These uneducated farmers are usually hostile to these extension workers. And sometimes, uneducated farmers are not willing to make the required adjustments to modern practices. This level of illiteracy slows down the rate of agricultural advancement. Farmers who do not know the importance of modern practices and the need to advance their farms do not welcome development. The next problem is the problem of rural-urban drifts. This problem is simply a problem whereby people leave the rural areas to urban settlements. Farmers in rural areas lack basic amenities such as electricity, good roads, standard schools, pipe-borne water, functional health centers, and relaxation centers. This lack of basic amenities force vibrant youth to move from rural areas to the cities, thereby abandoning agricultural jobs for white-collar jobs. This has also slowed down the rate of development in agriculture because agricultural jobs are now left for a larger number of old people and a few young persons who are left in the rural areas. The problem of poor market system. In Nigeria, there are no organized market channels for the sale of agricultural products. The problem of lack of good transport system prevents most farmers from transporting their goods to cities for sale. This leaves them with the option of selling their products to middlemen at very low prices. The profit made from the sale of products to middlemen is usually very low. And most times, farmers use such profit to take care of their family needs and to cater for their own issues, thereby leaving little or nothing for the expansion and development of the farm. And for this reason, most farmers are not able to advance and expand their farming activities. The problem of wrong orientation. In Nigeria today, most young people consider farming as common and fit for the old. They consider it as a job that is fit for school dropouts, failures, and poor people. Therefore, they do not take interest in agricultural activities. For this reason, young people neglect agricultural activities for more impressive jobs. There is therefore a very low percentage of working population in Nigeria's agricultural sector. And this is why there is a lack of advancement in agriculture. Another problem encountered in Nigeria's agricultural sector is the problem of environmental degradation. This problem is caused by man. Therefore, we can call this problem a man-made problem. Environmental degradation is simply the wearing away of land. There are different ways at which our environment can be degraded. One of such ways is through environmental pollution. Environmental pollution renders land and water bodies unfit for agricultural activities. Land pollution pollutes the land and destroys the nature of our land. It also washes off some of the essential nutrients found on land. Water pollution destroys the organisms that live in water. Another form of environmental degradation is bush burning. Bush burning destroys the soil surface and kills beneficial organisms that live on land. And lastly, the problem of soil erosion. In soil erosion, water washes off the nutrients and destroys the structure of land. All of this problem degrades the nature and structure of our environment, thereby making it unconducive for the growth of crops and animals. The problem of inconsistent government policies. Over the years, the Nigerian government has established several policies and programs that are supposed to profit farmers and develop the agricultural sector. Examples of such programs include School to Land, Operation Feed the Nation, Green Revolution, etc. However, most of these programs are short-lived and have ended with each passing regime. It is often seen that new governments do not continue the programs and policies established by the previous government concerning agriculture. For this reason, problems end too quick just after farmers begin to adjust and work along with these programs. This is not good for the advancement of agriculture and for the development of agriculture. Also, funds and materials allocated for such programs are diverted by corrupt officials. Some officials divert these funds and use them for their selfish purposes, thereby limiting the progress of agricultural development in Nigeria. At this point, we'll take a summary of all we've been learning in this lesson. We said the agricultural sector in Nigeria is faced with a lot of challenges and problems. Some of these challenges include land tenure system, inadequate finance, the problem of pests and diseases, the problem of lack of storage and processing facilities, and the problem of inconsistent government policies. These challenges faced by the Nigerian agricultural sector has led to a decrease in productivity and an overdependence on imported agricultural products. All of these has slowed down the rate of advancement in agriculture. At this point, I'd like you to find out how well you've learned from this lesson by taking this question. Which of the following is not a problem of agricultural development in Nigeria? Arable farming, inadequate finance, environmental degradation, and land tenure. The correct answer is A, arable farming. The other options are problems encountered in the agricultural sector of Nigeria. We have come to the end of this lesson. I hope you learned a lot, and I know at this point you can confidently explain the various problems faced in Nigeria's agricultural sector. I hope to see you in the next part of this lesson. Thank you.